Yo, what's happening, people? I want to welcome you to Flip the Script podcast show. My name is Sol and I am the host. So, on this show, you'll get the opportunity to listen to some inspiring people talking about real, honest, heartfelt, no holds barred transformation stories. We get to hear from ex-drug users, reformed criminals, all sharing their personal stories and how they manage not only to turn their lives around, but now are helping others to do the same. We also get to hear from courageous men and women sharing their experience of surviving high-level trauma and what they are doing or done to start that much-needed healing process.
Because from the age of 14 to 37, I spent 19 birthdays in prison. But growing up, I felt like I was always competing. The drive was anger. The drive was, how dare my father leave? I had to grow up too soon. I started crack cocaine at the age of 14. So somebody passed away. I was left with a body. And I'm going to get emotional because, bro, this is my life. This is raw stuff.
So today, I've got my good brother Joe, who's currently living in Birmingham at the moment, and originally from Hackney, so just down the road from me. And Joe's going to come along and talk about his journey, his story, and where he is now to where he was from before, yeah? All right, so Joe, all down to you, man.
Yes. So first and foremost, my brother, thank you for inviting me onto the show. You know, when I got the call, I felt very humbled, and I'm still am, and it's a blessing to do this. Considering where I've come from in life, to be able to be in a position where people can call upon me for positivity, it's awesome. And I'm all for that. That's how I try to live my life today. So where did it all start for Joe? Well, it started early because I was premature. It started very early. And them times I was in a rush. But them saying that, it was tricky because the midwife said to my mum, and my mum always told me the story, it was an Asian man who was the midwife, funny enough. And he said to my mum that if you have this child, either you or the child's going to pass away. And my mum's a very God-fearing woman. She comes from strong faith, bless her. And she phoned my godmother, Mother Stewart. She's passed away since. And she said to Mother Stewart the situation. And she said, right, I'm going to pray for you. And the midwife said, tell her to pray for me too. And by the grace of God, we're both here today. So that was that. But it was strange because I came at my mum with ginger hair. So I was always different. And I remember, I came at my mum with ginger hair to the point where, the professionals that were dealing with my mum thought that my mum dyed my hair. But she didn't, that's how it was. So I was always different. Like all these, looking back now and telling you about this stuff. And mind you, as a baby, we don't know jack in it. We don't know nothing. And if I swear, excuse my language, but sometimes that comes in sometimes when I get passionate about things.
It's cool, man. This is like we're raw, bruv. You get me? Yeah. So
there you go. There you go.
You get me?
There you go. So they all thought that my mom dyed my hair, but that wasn't the case. And I should have known, looking back, I've always been different. Always been different. And now I've come into a household of the last one of 8. So growing up, I felt like I was always competing. I felt like I was always looking for attention, and the household was very fragmented. A lot of stuff was going on behind the scenes. I wasn't aware of. I was the last one. I was a kid. So what I can remember, I'm more than willing to share because this is my journey and this is what's made me who I am today. But me and my mum, we had a very difficult relationship, man. But going back briefly, I was so small. My oldest brother used to be able to pick me up in the palm of his hand. In the palm of his hand.
Can you do that now, though?
He can't do At the shit now. You can, yeah, you know, but it's like looking at me now, I'm 6'4", you know, I'm a reasonable size, and you know, and it's God's miracle. You know, I believe in God. I've got a faith in, you know, it's God's miracle. But once upon a time, I lost faith and I was in a dark place. We'll get to that. So I was always competing, you know, always competing. Like, but there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of. Like I had brothers in addiction that I didn't know, in gangs that I didn't know, you know. And my dad, to be fair, my dad wasn't really, my dad was a racer, man. Do you know what I mean? Like my mum, and that's my truth. You know, I love my dad, but he was a raceman. You know, my mum worked on the building sites. My mum with her brothers. My mum, and she had it hard when she was back home, because my mum's from Trinidad. My dad's from Trinidad. My mum's from Montserrat. Sorry. And her mother came over first. And if I'm jumping in between, forgive me, but this is how the story emerges together.
Yeah. Cool.
So when my gran came over here, she left my mum with her brothers and sisters back home. And my mum got ill-treated, man. You know, really, sometimes they wouldn't go for food and this and that by her auntie. You know, and it was deep. It was deep, you know. At the age of 21, my mum already had 5 kids. Do you understand? You know, and it was my brother a couple of weeks ago, like Christmas time, kind of helped me to be aware of those things. That, you know, a young woman, 21, 5 kids. Do you understand? Like my mum wanted to work for Red Cross, but then in those days, you had to be married. You had to marry someone, you know, well-to-do, or, you know, so she couldn't even follow her dream. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And this is all from my mother's mouth to me, you know? So at the time, it was frustrating for me growing up. But you know what? I've got a lot of admiration and a lot of respect highly for my mum now, the things that I know and what she's been through. For her to come out the other side, my mum's the queen, man. My mum's up there. Do you understand? Like, she's been through a lot. So all that in play now, here comes the 8th child. My mum's in a fragmented relationship. The house is all fragmented. My brother's in an addiction. My dad's doing nothing. My mum's working her ass off. There's no input. So my mum and my dad's relationship is breaking away, you know, but I don't know the ins and outs, but all I know, the next man come on the scene, you know, that my mum took in and brought into the family home. Now, I missed out a bit. And I missed out a bit because it's personal and it's sensitive, but I can talk about it because I've been through it. So when I was 6 years old, an incident happened in the family home. Somebody passed away. I was left with a body, and I got put into care sometime after because my mum was on holiday, and it was like, in care, for me, it was very difficult, man. You know, growing up a black child, sometimes you wouldn't get the right products for my skin, you know, things like that. I was able to go back and forth to the family home, but I didn't want to. I felt resentful because why am I the only one in care? Do you know what I mean? When understanding the realization of where I am and what's going on, you know, when I was 9 years old, I tried to take my own life, man. You know, but not to die for a cry for help because I was bloody drunk washing up liquid. Do you understand? So it was like, I was in pain and I didn't even know all this stuff, you know, just because me searching, looking for love, looking for answers, looking for this, but then times their children should be seen and not heard. So I never had a voice. Do you understand? I never had a voice. I just knew I was in pain. My dad's up and down, nowhere to be seen. But there was one incident I remember when I was 10 years old. My mum's boyfriend takes my dad up the road with 2 knives. I never see my dad again. And I always said, wow, but if I have kids and something like that happens, I'm going to fight for my kids. I ain't going to let no man chase me up the road. Do you understand? But I don't know if my dad was scared or this and that or bloody blah. Like, we ain't had that conversation. So it is what it is. So you can see the mess that's already emerged, already happening. The inevitable coming. Drugs is coming. Gangs is coming. Do you understand? But I can't see it. I can't see it because I'm in care, bubbling about, from care, bro, yeah, till now, I'm 39 years old. I don't know what home is, bro. That's the truth. If I'm honest, I don't know what, when them people say they're going home to rest and nest and all them things there. I don't know what that is. All I know, there's a bed there and I got to get my head in it and sleep. But tell me the value of home, I can't tell you that. Do you understand? Because going from care now, so I had that spin in the care system, then being resentful with my mum, I was running away from home. So when I was able to go back, I wasn't staying. So how can I connect if I'm not sticking around? Do you see my point? So all this time now, but I only know this now because no one sat me down and said, yo, this is what's been going on. I've had to work this out for myself. I've had to sometimes go in myself, pull out little Joe and just explain things to him. I'm going to get emotional because, bro, this is my life. This is raw stuff. Do you understand? And that pain, I live with that pain even today. Even though man's in recovery, right? A man's doing their stuff and things, a man's got faith. You know the stuff that man's been through from the get-go, that's a lot of pain. But we don't have to act out on it today. That's the difference. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. So anyway, going through in care, I was living on the streets at the age of 14, bro. Because I didn't want to go
Hackney
home.
Now, yeah? This is like the streets of Hackney. So you're on road.
Yeah, but with the streets of Hackney, so I started crack cocaine at the age of 14. So I had a friend at the time. Yeah, I had a friend at the time. His name was
tell me a little bit about how it started with the crack team, because a lot of people think that, it is like we have a gateway kind of drug that kind of gets us to using crack. Where does it start for you? Where did it start for you?
Again,
the class A's, because they like to call it, innit?
Yeah, the class A. I mean, it started because resentfulness.
Okay.
I was resenting my mum. I was resenting the family home, so I wouldn't go there. So if I had never weren't going there, I had to go somewhere. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? So I had a friend at the time. His mum was a working woman, prostitute. And we used to go there and I felt safe there. You can smoke there, you can drink there, you can stay up late there. Do you understand? The insanity of that environment, I should have known I was in trouble. But I told you, like from the get-go, it was always gonna be nuts. But I just couldn't see it, So we was very curious kids. Like we smoked the odd fag now and again. And this is before I even touched weed. I touched class A's before I even touched weed. So like, it was already available in the house. Just like if you walk around the house, you'd find crack. Like if he's gonna find a cigarette, that was a drug of choice. Do you know what I mean? Excuse me. So we saw it. We're gonna put in spliffs, curiosity, boom, boom, boom. As we're doing what we're doing, I didn't feel no effect like that. But every man that came in the house is his dad. But knowing now, it's the mum's pimp, innit? Okay. So this yardie man's coming. You man, I waste the thing, man. Boom, boom, boom. Like bullied us. Bullied us into smoking a pipe. Properly. Because his love for crack was more for the children that was in front of him, and he didn't want that love to get used and abused, but he'd use and abuse us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So I wasted thing, and he made up a pipe, and we was made to smoke it. So we knew how to do that, and when that pipe effect hit me, but I enjoyed it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I enjoyed it because it kind of like when I blew the smoker after choking, I felt like I was a bit floating. I felt like, wow, I'm in a different time warp now. What's going on? And you know what they say? Every time you go to school, you're trying to chase that first effect. I get it. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But after that, it's never going to be the same. But I didn't know that. So I tried to disassociate myself from junkies. I'm not a junkie. I'm not a crackhead. I'm not. Do you understand? So
Tell us a little bit about the stigma, because I know about that stigma. About if you're bunning it in a pipe, it's like you're over. It's over. You can't be trusted. You're a crackhead. But if you're smoking it in a zoo, in a
yeah,
spliff, you're a smoker. You're all right.
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, tell me
yeah.
a little bit about that, like how it is, how you try to duck that kind of stigma.
But the majority of the time, you know, in ice, I had it in a spliff.
Yeah.
You know, I had it in a spliff, and what I'll do, I'll put a little bit of weed in there, yeah. So you can smell the afterburn. So it's like, oh, it's probably weed. But I know you know, I remember I was telling, talking about this the other day, yeah. My brother cried, yeah, when he found out I was smoking. You know, it's my big brother, but my brother was smoking as well. Do you understand?
Okay.
You know, that's how deep it is. My brother was smoking, but he was smoking in spliffs. So them times there, I wasn't connecting, putting the dots together. I didn't know. But when he knew that what man was on the thing, you know, but he couldn't stop me. I was already far gone. You know, I was, bro, like it was painful, man. Like I was doing things that I think I'll do. Like I was robbing people, things, tying people up, like, but hard, like merciless.
Yeah.
You know, like when you say, wow, man, just, yo, man is dark art. Man is just going through like, it was madness. My thought process, no one could go in there. I had so many barriers because if I let you in, they'll knock me off. Do you understand? That's what was going on upstairs. My family, people that I spoke to, everything was money. How can I get money out of you? Squeeze every bit of coins out of you. Like, how can I? Other than I don't want to talk to you. I didn't have a conversation. I had a grunt. Do you understand? That's how I carried myself. I was a bully. You know, I was a bully, man. I wasn't a nice person. But this came with what we was dealing with because I was around some serious man. That if you saw the ounce of weakness, that man would turn on you. Do you understand? Like around some serious man, I see. Whoa. Obviously, we're recording and them things there, man. I edit the thing there, but you know, man's been through some stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like, I hear it. Yeah, I get you, man. I get
you know,
exactly
and
where
the
you
thing
come
is,
from.
from a young age, bro. From a young age, like violence from a young age. I remember one time they wanted to do some psycho evaluation on me because from the age of 14 to 37, I spent 19 birthdays in prison through addiction, through lifestyle choices, you know, 19 birthdays in prison. Do you understand? When we sit down, it's like some of the youths, then that's before their time. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They wanted to do a psycho evaluation thing on me because they said, you know, violence is very spontaneous to you. You know, at one stage in my life, that was my buzz.
So do you think it was your drive was just to smoke crack, or what was the drive initially?
Do you know what it was? It was like I was angry. I said this to my missus the other day. I was angry, child as it is, and crack was just enhancing in that. Do you understand? The drive was anger. The drive was, how dare my father leave? The drive was, how dare he say that I'm dumb and my sister's clever? The drive was, why didn't you fight for me? The drive was, why was I in care? Do you understand? The drive is, why can't I connect with my family? Why am I living on the streets? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That was the drive. Why am I looking through other people's windows, wishing that I can have a family that will love me? That was the drive. I was angry. So when I was smoking, that ain't filled that. And everything in front of me had to go. If you didn't give me what I wanted, you had to go. I stabbed my own cousin because I thought he tried to, bro, I was in psychosis. My cousin was with me. I stabbed him. I thought he tried to plot for me. My cousin's just there like on his buzz. My head's like, nah, this is, he's, boom. I kept him there till I done what I had to do. Robbed him, said, see you later. It was pure anger, pure carnage, bro. And the majority of the time, yeah, we sharing stuff in meetings and things like that. But you know what? I don't like to talk because you know what? People could interpret me of trying to, I don't brag, I don't glamorize, I don't do them things, but I don't lie, bro. When it comes to my life like that, I know where I'm coming from. And next people can hear it, think, oh, yeah, what he's done is, Well, from the young age, I was on the pavement with some serious man. Do you understand? Bro, from a young age, I was fucking some big woman. What kid should be in that situation? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I was living like an adult as a child.
So, Joe, from what I get from what you're saying is that obviously you never had a child, did you? You know what I'm saying? You grew from you was an adult from when you can remember. Really, you was doing adult things. You was hanging about with certain man, doing certain things. You had this drive because you was angry. Do you know what I mean? Angry with life, angry with how your family, you know, angry with everything, man. You know, and so it's inevitable you was going to use drugs, isn't it? You know that it's inevitable. You know, like you said, you use drugs to calm you down in some way or well, took you away from Joe, innit? That's what it was about, innit? Yeah. So carry on. So tell me a little bit. So as you got older, was there any kind of points in your life where you thought, you know what, things can be a bit different here? I don't have to do this, or I can change, or was there anything in between before where you are now?
So obviously, I always say that I got into recovery at the age of 24. I started doing recovery at 38.
Just explain a little bit about recovery to people. I know some people are watching this, probably listening to this, know about recovery. What is recovery for you? What do you mean by recovery?
So for me, recovery, knowing what I know now, you know, recovery for me is not just recovering from drugs. You know, recovery is recovering from the trauma that I've been exposed to, that I've put myself in also, because I've got to take some responsibility. You know, that some of the stuff as well, I ran to it. I didn't walk to it, I ran to it, you know. So recovery is just about opening the box. So look at myself as a toolbox. So I open my box and I look what's useful, what needs sharpening, what's had its sell by date, and how we're going to work moving forward. Do you understand? Okay. So what tools is going to be right for me to put in the mechanism to keep moving?
So how did you get exposed to that? How did you get exposed to that first? Or where did you see that? Where did it come from?
So it came from Joe. So what happened is I got community service one time back in the days. For those who may not know what community service is, so obviously you get arrested, you go to court, and you have to do free work, you know, for the police and the government and that. And obviously back then I ain't trying to do no free work, so I just didn't turn up. So that was a problem. And then they called it a breach. So I breached that a few times. And then they sent me to jail. And I remember, so when I went to jail the first time, I was in like a secure unit, 15 years old. In the secure unit, not 14, and then not in the middle, going into 15, I got into secure unit. And I remember I lied about my age, so I wanted to get bail, and they put me in photo. That's what actually you tried to be too clever, innit? They put me in photo, right? And them times they were strict on, you know, you had to be like, you know, young offenders with young offenders, you know, but nice little mismatch, you know what I'm saying? Like, but going in there, I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect, but I had older brothers that had been to jail. So they don't give me the clue up, you know what I mean? If a man troubles you and he's with people, all right then, give as good as you get. But after I've picked them up, you mash them up to the best of your ability and keep it moving. Pick them off one by one. Do you understand? If man try to rush you, you grab onto the one nearest to you and just bite him out until or whatever, until they stop. Because every time you hit me, I'm hurting your pal. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So if you stop hitting me and I'll stop hurting your pal. You know, no one's there. You know, my brothers clued me up like that, you know? Make your tool, have your tool ready if you need it. So I had all them things. Do you understand what I'm saying? After I've gone through the cell door. But when I went through the cell door, I see two of my brother's friends. It was a 3-man bang up. Yeah. So I see, no, 4-man bang up, and I see two of my brother's friends. And I'm like, yeah, yo, such and such, boom, boom, boom. I was like, yeah, don't watch that, you're good. man's running astutes, boom, 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 boom. It's nice. So, but this is where the fuckery is, innit? Like, obviously, there was a guy in the cell, and he was at our entertainment. So, but you know what they say, innit? You're either leading or you're following, innit? Do you understand? So them man used to just wake up in the middle of the night, slap him, boom, he'd jump out of bed. Who done that? Turn the lights out, put like Rizla on him, light him up. Who done that? That man's laughing and that. Do you know, that's bad stuff. Do you get me? But that's what you conform yourself to, because if you don't do that, you become a victim. That's how bad it was. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I started to do those things. And like after a while, I prepared myself. So when I had my first fight, you know, I bit a man's face off. And someone said, wow, that was like a dog. And from then to a certain period, they used to call me Big Dog. Do you understand? And I used to conform to that. That was, yeah, gassed up, Big Dog, boom, 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 rare. DMX come out, boom, 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 boom. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm performing now. You know, I'm here for people's entertainment. And I'm entertaining myself to people that I thought were my friends. You understand? And they weren't my friends, man. You know, to answer your question. Ask me some more, so man. Keep it moving.
So, I mean, before we started this interview, I remember I was speaking to you and I said, what's your road name? And you just spoke about Big Dog, but then you said, I don't really want to be called Big Dog no more. Why is that then? Tell me a little bit, what is it that?
Because going back briefly, when I got a DRR, so basically it's a drug treatment order. Back then, after I've got the breach for the community service, so I got the DRR, went into rehab, did a bit of work.
So this is when you got first exposed to recovery. Yeah, how old was you then?
Yeah. I was 24.
24. So you went into rehab at 24 from jail.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So then, but what I did, I was going back to Hackney.
Okay.
Preaching to people about recovery.
Okay.
On the front line. Now they say if they say if you stay in a barber shop long enough, you get a haircut. Why are you preaching to people on the front line? Why do you need to even go down on the front line? Do you understand? So clearly I had reservations. Okay. But I didn't know about reservations and them things there. Do you get me? In depth? Because I hadn't surrendered. Do you get me? But we'll get to that. So that's what happened, and then everybody I started using. You know, started using back to square one. But then I went to jail again. And my key worker said to me, he said, listen, all this Big Dog and all that, boom, boom, you got to let it go. Because you're feeding into it. If you wanna move forward, there's certain things you got to let it go because you're feeding into it. Do you understand? So I had my daughter. I had my daughter. She's 15 now. And he also said, every time I use, I might as well put a picture of my daughter and say, fuck you. You know, he was raw like that. You know, I'm not going to blow him up, but I know that you know him, you know. So he was raw like that. And those are the things I needed to hear. Because even though after I still started to do certain things, I come out on the landing one morning, someone said, Big Dog. I said, bro, no disrespect. My name's Joe. I heard that. I was willing to hear that. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I was willing to hear that because I really looked myself in the mirror and I was like, bro, I'd bark like a dog, bruv. Before I'd have a fight, I'll psych myself up like I'm a dog. Do you understand? Growling, boom, boom, boom. And like, man, I just, yeah, boom, boom, boom. So I turned myself into a dog, blood. Do you see what I'm saying? And looking back, that saddens me that I had to put myself in that role. I was so fucked up here. I was so much yearning to belong. I was willing and to put myself in a position of an animal. Do you understand? Live like an animal. Communicate like an animal. Just because I wanted to fit in. Just because I was so scared not to be accepted. Fair. Do you understand? I was so scared not to be bullied. Fair. live like an animal, bro. And I can, you know, the work that I've done on myself today and doing, I can be honest with you, my brother, and share that. I was just scared little boy. Do you understand? That felt so vulnerable, bro. Do you understand?
When did you, because, you know, like to surrender or even be open to kind of like listen to something different. When did that happen for you? I know you talked about this guy. You kind of said that this guy, he was raw with you and told you how it was. Was that the point when you thought, you know what, something needs to change?
Do you know, there was a point.
You have that kind of, go on.
That was the point of some stuff needed to change.
Okay.
You know, because I wasn't completely open, but I was open enough to take away at the time some of the stuff that was harmful to me in moving forward. Did you see where I'm coming from?
But that internal battle that you was having, being the good person, the bad, you know that battle, isn't it?
Yeah,
so that was going on. Yeah,
constantly,
really going on.
Constantly, because I was doing groups and coming out and shotting on the landing.
Okay.
Do you understand? So I'm doing groups, doing step work, and coming out and shotting on the landing.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Not using, but shotting. So I'm trying to clean my act up, but I'm poisoning other people.
Did you have part of the rap program? Is that what you're talking about? The raps? Was you in the rap program?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that was like a rehabilitation program, drug intervention program in prison.
Okay.
When you go through the step work, Protest on Narcotics Anonymous, and I was doing that, bro, doing my step work, and shot into man on the landing. And I guess as well, that was me manipulating the situation as well. Because if I'm shot into you, how can you challenge me? Do you understand? You can't challenge me if I'm shot into you. So that's me now, not surrendering to other certain things. Because the thing is, like I'm dyslexic, but my brain and my works in many different ways. I'll get the job done, but just in a different way to the next man. So even back then, I knew how to look at things and think, wow, how can I navigate this thing? Do you get me? Because first and foremost, it's the thing like, I don't know them man there. What are they going to try and chat to me about? We never smoked together. We never rubbed together. One of that false pride thing. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I've come on the landing now, sussed out who's on the group, and I'm like, all right, then cool. Made 2 work, boom, boom, boom. You can't, listen, you're giving me a go ahead. When they say, you got anything to say? No. He's doing well. You can't chat because you're doing what, you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's how it was. That's how it was, because I wasn't completely ready to hand everything over. I wasn't ready. I was still trying to do things my way. Do you understand? I still had to go through more pain. Do you know, I thought, I'm not using, I'm not doing this, that. I thought I was all right. I wasn't all right. Because if I'm blocking myself from getting the work that needs to be done, I'm causing myself pain.
So I also know that you are a converted Muslim, is that right, Joe? Yeah? You converted to Islam. You converted to Islam,
yes,
is that right?
well,
yeah, okay. So tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about, coming from, I presume, a Christian background, is that right?
Yeah, Pentecostal background.
So when did that happen? Talk me through about.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me about that, because it happened when I was young. When I used to run away, sometimes I'd find myself, so on my mum's road, I'm gonna blow my mum's ends up, but if you know Hackney, there's a road, and on top of one road, at the top of the bottom road, there's a synagogue for Jews and that. And on top of the other road, there's a church and a mosque right next to it. And 1 or 2 times I went to that church, but I didn't find myself going back. I used to go to the mosque a lot. You know, I always say living on that road was blessed, because if you're faith, you got you got options. You got the Judaism, Muslims, and Christians. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I used to run away a lot, and I used to find myself in the mosque. You know,
wow.
And when I was in the mosque, I was only young. I was 12 years old. Do you understand? When this came about, I was 12 years old, my brother. But they were good to me. You know, they gave me water, they gave me food. They'll take me back to my mum, so my mum knew where I was. And I remember my mum said, so where y'all go? Y'all go there? Da, 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 da. So, yeah. You know, my mum said, well, long as you're safe and this and that, boom, boom, boom. And they spoke to my mum, and I was sitting there and they were breaking down things about Islam to my mum. And in front of my mum, I took my shahada. In front of my mum. Do you understand? Now, my mum, them times there, my mum was very, I think she just thought, yeah, let me just do this because X, Y, Z. Do you understand? But like, I'm not a perfect Muslim, but I do my best. And as time has gone on, my mom has gone from, me not care if I Ramadan, or whatever you are do, you must praise the Lord, to, bro, on Boxing Day, just gone, my mom, at 6 o'clock in the morning, bro, knocked on the door, because I stayed at my mom's for Christmas, knocked on the door and said, son, don't forget you got to get up for prayers.
Wow.
Subhanallah. Like, from that transition to my, that's a blessing right there.
Yeah.
Allah put in my mom's heart to come and wake me up for prayers. That's a blessing right there. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Like, and I remember I made a video about it because I was so, at the first experience, I experienced like that with my mom. Do you understand? Like,
She
and I made
accepted
a
you.
video. She accepted me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even now, and like I say, we're going back and forth, but you know, the conversation flows like this sometimes. From a woman that used to lock all her doors, because I've had my mum in the madness, you know, I hold that. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I feel shame for it, but I forgive myself from it because I wasn't well. Do you understand? My moral compass was upside down. I didn't even have one. Do you understand? So from going through some ill-gotten stuff with my mum, she locked everything in the house, didn't trust me. If my mum wants something today, go in my bedroom and get it and bring me a purse. No eyelids battering. Come on, man. That's what it's about today.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're at today, you know?
So tell me, so what are you doing now, Joe, in your life? I mean, so you've gone from 24, so you went through jail, you went rehab, that didn't work, you kind of doing little bits, but you still kind of you had one foot in one world, one foot in the other world. So you wasn't quite really really inside the place you are now, I suppose, in some ways. So tell me a little bit about what you do now and how have you jumped into the recovery world full on?
Okay, so yeah, I got a recall. I had a relapse and got a recall. And when I was away, my sister passed away. Yeah. And my sister, when I come out of care fully, my sister took me in. You know, she became like my mum, you know. And when she passed away, I was on the raps course. I had to do the raps again. Because when I got a recall, one of my good friends died in a car crash. And I started smoking that spice. I was lost, man. You know, I was lost. And it was one of the workers, the drug workers that knew me from before, knew that, you know, where I was at and what my potential was and is. You know, just kind of pulled me up by the scruff of the neck and said, listen, this ain't you, what you playing at? You know, and I was beaten, man. You know, I remember the times I thought I'd never get out of jail, you know. Yeah, I was beaten. But she pushed and I went to do a rap program in Rochester, HMP, because they didn't do it Coding anymore. And that's one of the places I did it before, period. And when I went to Rochester, I was on the course and I was doing all right. It was Ramadan. I was helping out with the was helping out with the food for Eid and stuff. And I remember, man, they come and got me on a Monday and said their mom wants to speak to you. And they took me over to the chapel, and I thought, cool, Ramadan, I'm helping out. It's that time, you know what I mean? So when I went there, the actual chaplain man, Christian man, he said, your mom's on his way. When he comes, he'll speak with you. And I didn't think nothing of it, still didn't think nothing of it. It's Ramadan, I've been helping out, it's cool, you know what I mean? So the imam come in, and he's gone, you want a coffee? I said, yeah, cool, man, you know what I mean? He says, all right, cool, make me a coffee. And he said, right, I'm not gonna, kind of me around it and stuff. He says, it saddens me to say that, Lorraine, that's my sister, is no longer with us. Because prior to that, it was coming up to, it was New Year's, coming up to 2/17. And like, me and my sister always had that relationship, like no matter where I am, we're connected, But when I was in jail, I need to change the wording because that's not our life today. When I was in jail, I'd phone her, then not phone her for a couple of times just to give the space in it because obviously she's doing what she's doing, and And I'm trying to phone her and I can't get through, and I'm taking it to group, and I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with my sister, and checking, and I'm like, what's going on with her? Why is she not picking up the phone? Da-da-da-da-da. And then New Year's back, I said, let me phone, because you had the phone in the cell them times. Not the ones you have to put up your rear end, thankfully. You know what I'm saying? You had the phone on the wall. Like. So I phoned her, and I knew something wasn't right. I know my sister, and I can hear in her voice. I said, listen, what's going on, man? I phoned to say Happy New Year. She goes, Joe, Happy New Year. I goes, what's up, man? She goes, no, it's all right. And even in that, my sister never wanted to make me worry and stuff. And, and she goes, she's not saying. I said, come on, sis, what's up, man? I know something's not right. So she said, I didn't want to worry you, but I had a stroke. I said, what do you mean a stroke? What's that? What do you mean? Because my sister, before I got the recall, the last thing me and my sister did was train in the gym. That was our thing. She'd go on marathons and things like that. She was fit. So I'm like, what do you mean stroke? So she's like, the doctor says she's overworked. This is why it's good to do things, in our means, man. So we don't stress ourselves out. Do you understand? Because she was a healthy person. But she said, I'm all right now. I just forget things now and again. And I couldn't talk. And I didn't want you to hear me like that. Yeah, man. So you know what? I'm grateful for the time that I couldn't get through to her. You know what I'm saying? And that happened, and she passed away. But she passed away on the weekend. But they didn't want to leave me in that state, so they told me on a Monday. Okay. And, I found out what it was my cousin that got in touch with one of my friends at the time and phoned the jail, and he told me. So anyway, and then he said, but then Mitch, that's my stepdad, passed away on the 22nd. So my sister passed away on the 14th of February 17. And then my mum's husband passed away on the 22nd, same month. This is why I say I carry my mum and I hold her highly, like for her where she's at and what she's doing and what she's been through, not just from me, So, no, I didn't get it. I was resentful again. My mum didn't let me go to the funeral. And like everyone was saying, even her son was like, that's not what mum would have wanted and this and that. But I'm grateful. A week after I went to the grave. And I understand now, like, my mum couldn't handle that. seeing her son in handcuffs, not being able to hug her son, not able for her son to hug them and interact properly. She couldn't handle that. And I have to respect that. And I do respect that. But at the time I didn't, and I was angry and I was hurt. You know, and I remember I went to the grave and I just went on my knees, man. And I remember rubbing her soul, like I was stroking her hand. Yeah, man. I remember rubbing
Listen,
her, you know.
I've got to say, man, it's like listening to you and you getting emotional about stuff like, you know, it warms me, man, that you can do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Loss is massive, man, and you know we're quite good at just going boom, 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 pushing it down, man. But for you to come on here and talk about that stuff, man, and you know I commend you, man. It's powerful,
you know,
really powerful,
bro. Like for me, I've always played up to the camera. You know, I can't do that today because that don't serve me well, man. That don't get me nowhere. You know, I have to be true to me, and if it makes people uncomfortable, if they don't get it, it's fine. I get it. Do you understand? My journey is my journey, man. And I know where I've come from. I know where I am and I know where I want to get to. I'm not even nowhere near where I want to get to. Do you understand? But it's like just touching it on briefly with my sister. So after that, you know, my head was still in a pickle. Like I lost my faith a bit. I have to be honest. You know, every weekend now I've gone back to jail. Every weekend I'm drinking hooch. You know, like having one man raves in the cell. Man are telling me, then I'm saying, shut up, see me in the morning. You know, like that, because that was my grief. That was like, I was going through some pain. And what happened was, I remember I got released. And so I have to go back. So I was using, then I moved jails. And then it was all good. I stopped using, got back on the road, and then I was in a jail where they lock off the spur on the weekend and you can go and chill with next man. Bro, at first it started off playing FIFA. Then man was getting liquor over the wall. Then man was getting sniff over the wall. Now I was against it. I wasn't doing it. But again, if you stay in a barber shop long enough, you get a haircut. I had a line. I had 2 juice. Bro, you know, I went back to the cell, looked at my wall and looked at my sister and I cried, man. I said, fuck, that wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan. So I had to move again. And I was on a ring with man them, busting jokes, this and that. And they were like, what you doing? Where you going? I said, if I stay here, I'm never getting out. Because it's too comfortable. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I moved to a ring, but remember the next man, you know, we call them man the Fraggles, innit? Like some funny man. You know the one there, like, let me see your papers, man. You understand? But it's like, on that ring, them man ain't gonna trouble me. I'm not gonna chat to them. You understand? I'm just getting my head down. I'm going home. You understand? But I got comfortable again. And a spliff a week before my board, yeah, they come to piss test me. So as I've gone into the piss test, right, it's like the bell's gone for a fight, yeah. And the man said, listen, you're gonna have to come back. But I would have blew blood.
Wow.
God was there. He said, obviously you don't have to tell me twice. I skipped out of there. Do you understand? Yeah. And then I had my board and I got released. Do you understand? So I've come out now. I thought, right, that's a spliff. I can get back on the road. And I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Remember, I come out, I went straight to a meeting. People up there, this is in Oxford. Some of the people up there embraced me. You know, I remember one woman, she just not long come out of jail, but I've been in jail and experienced that. I went to a meeting. She just let me know it's okay, you're in the right place. So that was cool. I was on the road, and then it come up to my sister's anniversary of the 1 year, and obviously I haven't experienced that. And then I used Yeah, I used hard. I started drinking, started sniffing, and then I remember it was the 28th of May, 18. I couldn't stop crying, man. Couldn't stop crying. And it's like, I was in my bed and I was just like, I visualizing my sister just looking at me with disgust, with hurt, sadness. And I remember I phoned my friend and he come round. As soon as he come round, I just hugged him, put my head in his chest like a baby, sobbing. And I said, I can't do this no more. First and foremost, I don't want to let my sister down. How dare I tarnish her memory like that? Do you understand? And from that day, I haven't picked up, bro. I'm 2.5 years clean.
Oh, well done, man.
Thank you.
Done. So, what do you do now then, Joe? Give me a little description about your life. I mean, what do you do in recovery? What do you do to keep Joe well? What is it you're doing, man? Because I've heard you kind of like been doing a few speeches at schools and stuff like that. And I know you do quite motivational stuff to carry the message to other young people and adults and whatever. But give me a little rundown what you do, man.
So I got a sponsor, for those that don't know. Sponsor is just like a guide in life. Not like to
mentor.
Guide. Yeah, like a mentor, not to guide you, but just to suggest to you. Do you know what I mean? Because you have to still make the choice of to listen or not to listen, you know. But I always say my experience ain't gonna be your experience. You just got to tweak some things in life just to know where you're going. My program ain't gonna be your program, so you have to make yours your own. Do you know what I mean? So I do that and do the work where it's necessary for me and what I need to do. But my most important drive in life is not being selfish. You know, I hooked up with an organization, which I do voluntary work for, and they're called Aquarius, and then what they do, so they're training me on a job. So I've been post-signed to a paid job. But the reason why I hadn't been quick to take those before, I wasn't ready, you know. And like I said, going back with my sister, I ain't trying to pressure myself just to fit in. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because that man's doing it, it's working for him, and he suggests it. But I know my sanity. Do you understand? I know my ability. So with that, you know, I've trained to be a mentor. You know, I go into schools, I deliver workshops. So my clients, they range from 8 years old to 21.
Young people.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was in Oxford, in Birmingham, where I am. You know, I've got clients from 8 to 21, but also I've got the more mature adults as well. So I teach, before all this stuff, I teach over 55s. Movement in leisure.
Okay.
That's been affected by drugs and alcohol. So they might have dementia, they might have stiffness and things like that. But all reacted by drugs. So kickstart through drugs. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I come in, you know, sit them down and just give them movement, like exercises and stuff. And there's one lady that makes sure I get the metro every time. You know, when my father passed away, so my father passed away like a year ago. When my dad passed away, they embraced me. You know, they shared their love with me. And that's very key, because prior to that, I hadn't seen my dad for 15 years. You know, and I got a call from my mum and said, look, your dad's not well. Then the next minute, your dad was gone. And then my sister that he had before he got with my mum, she contacted me and said, look, I'd like you to be part of the funeral. So through recovery and through, you know, my faith, my higher power, it enabled me to be present and show up. I carried my dad's casket. I kissed it. I said, Dad, I forgive you, you know, privately. and I said a few words. And as much as what's happened has happened, that's my dad. You know, there's two sides to a story. Like two people play to have a child. You know. So and as a parent, that's made mistakes, and is still trying to make things right. I would like to know that one day God will put in my kid's heart to forgive me. So how dare I not forgive my father? You know. So yeah, that's that. And I go into prisons. So I go into prisons. Again, I deliver workshops based around. So my story, and that's on YouTube. My kind of like journey, brief
What you
outline
could
of
do is
my.
send on the thing, the bottom is we'll put the links in anyway, yeah, so people can kind of listen to that as well if they want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's on YouTube, and that was from an organization from More Than My Past, which I'm an ambassador for, and they're part of the rap team.
Okay.
But what they did, so the raps is for establishments and prisons, and More Than My Past is for in the community, and it's about successful stories of people that's gone through criminality and that's gone through drugs and come out on the other side, you know. So I'm an ambassador for that. So that's a blessing. I've been to the House of Commons, you know. Yeah, you know, I've been to the House of Commons, delivered a talk. They shook my hand, they didn't cross over the road. But these things have to be acknowledged, because once upon a time, people see me and cross over, you know, on the other side of the road, you know. So, yeah, man. The mayor of London, you know, invited me for brunch, you know. Then we had
You, man, rolling with the big ones, yeah? Not the man, them, the big ones, yeah?
But, you know, like my thought process and how I am today, I still have to learn things the hard way. You know, I go into things with a big heart, you know, and sometimes that gets pulled around and played with and stuff, and it's okay. Now I go into things with a big heart, but I got a protection there. Do you understand where I come from? Because I don't need to put myself in pain today to know that that's not good for me. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, cool, man.
You know, like it's about growing and learning, you know, to the best of our ability. So today, how I am, I will talk to everyone, but it's not everyone I'll invite for dinner. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no.
But before, I was inviting everyone for dinner. Do you understand? And people were going back, and I couldn't find my food. Do you understand? Next minute, I couldn't find a plate to get me. Then I couldn't find a bit of meat. Every time something goes, there's a bit of me gone. Do you understand where I come from? Then you overlook that and you think, hold on a minute, something's not right. So now I keep enough for me, so it's painless, you know. Not that things don't happen, because, bro, let me break this down to you. I've got 3 kids, bro. Do you understand? Yeah? I've got 3 kids, 15, 7, and 5. Do you understand? And the oldest, I was in the madness. You know, there's a lot there that needs to, you know, be dealt with. And I'm aware of that. It's patience, you know, through the grapevine, she ain't ready to speak to her dad yet. And I have to respect her wishes, you understand? My youngest, you know, we're going through the process, because it's like, you know, you want me to do things your way, but hold on a minute, we're not a family. Do you understand? So it has to be give and take. So that's a process through court, which is, you know, recovery's giving me the ability to do that. You know, every time, once upon a time I used to go to court, it was bad for me. I'd go to jail. It's a different turnout today. You know, I had to do the same with my son. You know, I see my son every 3 weeks. You know, FaceTime him in between. You know, but that's because I had to get up and go around that. You know, it's not been easy. You know, sometimes things still happen. You know, but I try my best to just do good, bro. Do you understand? Do good. I make bad choices sometimes. I'm a human being. I'm not exempt from that. I make bad choices sometimes. Do you understand? You know, sometimes I can get distracted. Do you understand? But when I really sit down and ground myself, you know, I know what's right for me and what's wrong for me. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You know, so it's all about just giving back, or giving back, you know, giving back. What I do, give back. And because how I make amends to the people that I've hurt, as well as myself, is just try not to repeat that pattern. Because also, if I can't forgive myself, how can I accept forgiveness, bro? So understand that was a big thing I had to work with. And my sister said to me, and this is what I'm starting to realize. My sister said to me, bro, you're gonna do great things. If anything, yeah, I just want you to know how special you are. You're gonna do great things. When you walk into a room, people look. When you talk, people listen. Do you understand? She said, when you're doing the things that are meant for you, connected from the Almighty, you can't go wrong. Do you understand? Trust in God, then you can't go wrong, and let Him carry you. You know, and I do that to my best ability today. Sometimes I'm up and down, but when I'm connected, I'm connected. You know, because if it ain't authentic, it don't make sense, bro.
Yeah. Joe, man, it's been absolutely amazing, man. Really good to hear you, brother. I just kind of want to ask you something before we wrap it up, man. So if there's anything you could say to Joe, yeah, at his young age, when he needed Joe, when Joe needed someone, what would it be? What would you say to him? Or some of our viewers that are here are listening, what would you say to them?
Growing up, yeah, I didn't share this. Growing up, I was exposed to a lot of shame. You know, look what you do, this and that, boom, boom, a lot of shame. You understand? So that kid in me was very much timid. You know, very much inwardly. You know, and what I would say, it's okay to be vulnerable. You know, it's okay to be vulnerable. You know, false pride made me not be vulnerable. You know, what people will think made me not be vulnerable. You know, fear of being vulnerable made me not be vulnerable. And in that, I created pain. You know, because I was too scared to talk and genuinely say, I'm scared. I need a hug. I need some love. I don't feel loved. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And like today, bro, my vulnerability is my growth. That's part of my armor. Do you understand? When I've got my son, I hug him, I kiss him on the lips. He's 7. I let him know he's loved. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Mm.
Because those things weren't shown like that to me. Boys weren't meant to cry. Do you understand? Boys weren't meant to show that vulnerability. Do you know, I hold my son tight. I call my son darling. What's up, darling? Come here, baby. Do you understand? In time, that will stop because obviously he's going to start growing even more. But he's still my little baby. 7, but he's my little baby. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I had to grow up too soon. Man. So anyone that has got that inner child in them, like we all have, yeah, nurture it. Do you understand? Sometimes I get frustrated with self when I can't do something or when I'm trying to figure something out. But that's not the old me. That's the little me. Do you understand? But because I'm big in structure, people are like, why is he acting like that? He's overreacting. But right now, that's little Joe in effect. But they just can't see little Joe because little Joe's inside. So it's for me to then say, little Joe, it's okay. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to talk about your sister because Big Joe's got you. Do you understand? That's the cycle of life. People live, people die. Do you get me? But the little child in me, oh, she's gone, she's passed away. It's okay. It's okay. Do you understand? So anyone, vulnerability, tap into that. Some people, I know it's hard for them, but it's that vulnerability that enabled me to grow. Do you understand? Because I watched too much face. I wanted to be hardened. I didn't want no one to take the mick out of me. Do you understand? I didn't know how I would react with those emotions, but those emotions are growth. You know.
Brilliant. Man, listen, Joe, thank you, man. Really good to hear you, brother. Like, it's kind of weird, yeah, because it's like we're both from the same old world, aren't we, really? Like, when I listen to what you were talking about, man, a lot of that I can relate to. I can identify with that. I grew up saying very similar, but very different as well.
Yeah.
But I understand how it is on road, you get me, and what we have to do sometimes when we're kids, man. And we get these missed messages, man. Do you know what I mean? That we have to be like this. We've got to be like this, and within that, what happens is we get lost.
Yeah.
We get lost, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's really good to hear you, man. Listen, man. Like I know you from road. I know you from the landings. Yeah, you get me. So I've seen you, and I've seen how you. Like I know Joe. I know Big Dog, but I also know Joe now. You know what I'm saying to you? And it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
So listen, that's us, man. Gonna wrap it up, man. Listen, to anybody, remember to subscribe, hit the like button. I'm gonna put Joe's little story at the bottom underneath this and some links that Joe's gonna send me. And yeah, man, it's really good, man. Well done, man.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you, man. And you know what? Like definitely, and I'm not even blowing smoke up your ass. You know our relationship, bro. Like, please keep doing what you're doing, because like, especially in times like this, we need things like this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Man. A lot of people are relapsing, a lot of people are passing away. Do you understand? Yeah. So to continue the strength, do you understand? Spiritually, as well as visually.
Yeah, of course.
God bless you, bro. God bless you, man.
Bless you, man. Thank you, Joe, man. Thank you. All right. Bless up.
Everyone's got a story, but not everyone gets to share theirs. So remember, hit the subscribe button, press like, so we can continue to spread the message that change is possible even in the darkest of places.